Up there, you guys up there.
We were just about to get started.
Right here.
Great timing.
Very cool.
Thank you.
I mean, as a personal view, my sense is, as a personal view, that we should be very clearly targeting hostage-taking, and we should be sanctioning the individual perpetrators of hostage-taking. My preferred vehicle, and the vehicle that we'll be working together on, is Magnitsky sanctions, global Magnitsky sanctions. I think there's a need to sort of, delineate who are the different stages involved and who are the people and build an evidence base. We will be bringing a file back to Congress. We'll be bringing one to the Canadian government, we'll be bringing one to the British government that sets out, this is who we want you to get.
The families and former hostages, what are the expectations?
And we would like to see action at the UN Security Council, first and foremost. We would also really like to see a united front from the U.S. government, that the full force of the United States government stands strongly against Iranian hostage-taking across the globe, and it needs to stop.
Congress do to assist in this issue?
Well, I'll say I know that Richard...
But we need the promise of not allowing Americans to languish in the hands of the Iranian government to be fulfilled. And to be fulfilled quickly. It started over a decade ago for the Levinsons. I can't even imagine. I mean, Richard said it. 4 years. I feel it's been a lifetime. And we really hope that we have been doing this, and we need that to continue. We need the sustainability of that to be supported by the administration, by Congress, by the UN.
Nazanin Zaghari Radcliffe. Sorry. Husband. Gosh, I'm sorry.
I think for me the important message was that this is a global issue. This is an issue. Candidly, I'm looking for the American leadership. I think the US has more heft than anyone else in the world. It has a clear principled stand against hostage-taking that other powers are not willing to call cases hostage. So the British government will not call Nazanin hostage. It will refer to her as being held for diplomatic leverage. So, similar kind of space, but they won't use the word hostage. It's a bit too heavy a word. The US is willing to. I think that's really important to call a spade a spade.
Namazi. For those on the phone, we also have present as well.
Can I just quickly add that I think it's also really important to realize that this is not a partisan issue. Not only just human rights in Iran, but this in particular should be something that we all agree on, either side of the aisle, and that the clear message, I hope, is that human dignity is not negotiable.
We have always believed that over the past 12.5 years, based on what we have learned, that pressure works with them. Pressure was the reason that we received the documents in the first place. Pressure is the reason I do believe that the UN filing came through to us. I think that we need to continue as much pressure as possible until they finally resolve these cases. And now is the right time to do it because so much has happened.
Can you talk about what impact that you think or any concerns you have?
The administration has, of course, provided a dozen issues that it says it's focused on with Iran, and that it was going to handle those issues with maximum pressure. And unfortunately, we've had this discussion with the administration on many occasions. There's been a gap between the rhetoric and the implementation in reality. The reality is that there's been little to no pressure actually placed on the Iranian regime as of yet, as it relates to hostage-taking as a policy. And this needs to change.
Mr. Pence has said there were no serious consequences.
Unless, my experience having worked on political prisoner cases over the last 20 years has taught me that regimes only release hostages or political prisoners when the costs of keeping them in prison dramatically outweigh the benefits, right? And we need the government of Iran to actually feel those costs and to feel specific costs being imposed that directly tie to hostage-taking.
The U.S. put sanctions on the IRGC. Is that something you want other countries or the U.S.?
From all the information that we have right now, and without speaking with any specifics, it's the Iranian regime right now that is not coming to the table and is not willing to talk. And this is a problem not just for the United States, but for the UK and for other countries around the world. And the reason they're not willing to talk, in my view, is because there have been no serious consequences imposed on them for the ongoing imprisonment of hostages, right? If there was, they would have to reconsider their calculations. And while I, believe that they're the government of Iran is an authoritarian regime that violates the human rights of its own people and of foreigners with utter impunity. They're quite rational, I think, in their actions and in their desire for self-preservation, and we simply need to change their calculus. And we have not done anything sufficiently significant to change their calculus.
Also to organize today, so we appreciate it.